It's like, it's music. Aren't we doing this to that stuff? And if we're not using all of it, is it only to that moment? Is that what makes it interesting? Or are we just bypassing the bigger layer of information that's coming in the auditory form? What are we trying to show people?
Hello and welcome to another zany episode of Nerdy West Coast Swing, the podcast with pixels where the anchors are out of this world and the points don't matter. We're here to help train your eyes so you can learn faster and dance better. I'm Cassie Winter.
I'm Alicia Marshall. If you're wondering, who are we to be having these pros on with us? Cassie and I both have extensive training and experience in both partnered and solo dancing. Cassie has about 24 years and I have about 26, and I think that's where we're at. It's been a while since I've done my intro. So tonight we have a special guest on with us. We're so excited to have Kyle Red.
The one, the only. Hello.
Yes, the one and only.
Hello, friends. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Feeling nerdy.
Sweet. That's what we like to see.
Well, you guys made me feel much more comfortable after our little intro talk before we started this. So I'm super happy to share with you points of views and kind of geek out with you.
Yeah. So excited to have you. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah. Seriously, we were so excited to have you on. We've been talking about it for a while, but didn't get around to it until we were chatting with Sarah. So,
well, I've actually through friends and through watching, I've noticed a few times you guys will reference some stuff that I do, and I love that you guys will anyway use me as a form of this to pass the art on to people. I totally dig it. So thank you for
thank you.
Yeah,
in any way, an art form that needs to be looked at. So
yeah, and we love the way that you and Sarah on your lives have those camera set up so you can get different perspectives when you're teaching. It's just cool. Like chef's kiss, bird's eye view. Like there are so many times I'll draw a really sad bird's eye view picture. I can draw, but it happens.
Yeah,
like Rorschach.
Is what it is.
Totally right now, guys. We got a new place, and so we had to figure out how we're going to redesign what we did from the garage that we were in for COVID, and super big cathedral style hall. It's it sounds really echoey, and so I ended up having to put sails across the roof. And if my landlord ever came in here and saw what we did to what they do to this place, they'd be like, "What are you doing in here?"
It's the life of a content creator.
He's like, what are you filming?
Nothing weird.
It's not to us.
No.
Yeah.
It's the life.
Exactly.
My kid runs the mixer over there. He makes all the moves with all the cameras when we're not just filming all four at one time. It's a production. It's we love doing it. It's our release each week. So the people that join us each week, they see a real part of us. So you see the good and the bad.
Yeah.
I think yesterday
that's always nice to be real.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you guys off. We had people coming on yesterday, and it was all of a sudden it was brown out right in the middle of our thing. Our house goes click. Thank you, California. And I have to reboot everything, reset every camera, and get everybody back on. It was with new members trying to get on. I was this is people don't understand the work that goes in behind just the production of it. It's 2 hours up. It's a 45-minute class. It's a wind down after you have to teach with energy on the other side of a microphone. And then coming off a weekend, especially a weekend like TAP.
No kidding.
Yeah. I'm sure it was a long weekend.
And an awesome weekend. It's so bad. It's I think I was out dancing until 5:30 in the morning and got up at 9 o'clock to it.
Woo. Rough.
Wow. It's so worth it. God, this is why we all addicted to it, right?
You're right. Exactly.
Yep. Why don't you tell us about your dance journey, from the beginning to today? Give us the truncated biography.
From beginning to today?
It can be as detailed as you want, leave in or take out what you want.
Well, there are blurs.
General question.
But I can give you the beginnings and some of the middles.
Bring it on.
Yep.
See the ends. All right. So my mom came home from work and she said, "Hey, have you ever heard of line dancing?" I'm like, "Well, what? No." I'm 14 years old. Like, no, I haven't heard of line dancing. Country music, ill. So I'm like, she's like, well, there's this group there at my work, and they have this girl on there named Melissa Russ, not Melissa Roots. Her name was Melissa Russ, and I was like, what? I knew this girl from junior high, and I was like, I'm going line dancing. And that was like the start of like why I ended up at a place where I learned to line dance. Actually, the first night I went with my best friend, Jason Carmody. We ended up, I met Sarah the first night I went dancing. Like, I literally remember like walking in and like, there was this really small girl in the middle of the floor, like killing it, like just to like boot scoot and boogie or something. And I was like, oh, we need to meet. Well, long story. We were really actually best friends, put on the team together. We ended up on the team doing like partner dances after it was a line dance team. It's kind of, we get paired up with each person for the learning of it. And the day that we did West Coast Swing, we got paired together. So that was our first journey, like learning the basics, like walk, point, step, walk, point, step. It's so basic, you know, hand up, high five. It was literally from the beginning, like we did it together. And so we ended up doing a lot of that team stuff. We each had different partners. I learned like some partner dances we did a little bit of junior stuff. We won like Madeira Chili Cook-Off. We didn't win it, but we went to it and we competed. God, I'm skipping through so much crap. This is ridiculous. So we had partners that were all kind of like intermingling at that time. Sarah and I were just best friends. I was actually dating a friend of hers, and we decided at one point we wanted to actually dance country together after we had done some other stuff in our like junior country. So as we kind of became a couple, we kind of made our couple partnership as juniors become a partnership in country. So we competed in like Division 4 country together, and that was like 93, 92, 93-ish. And then we got all the way to like Division 3, and then kind of were too tumultuous, and my grandma got sick and I had to go to Texas, and so we broke up, and it was just this kind of really like in-depth hard breakup because it was dance, it was a lot of things that I had to leave, and it was just we were too young for it. So I went to my grandma's for about 9 months. I went to the most East Texas area ever, and I'm a California kid. My high school was Robert E. Lee High School. It was like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm coming from, you know, Central Valley, which is, you know, they think we're Hicks, you know, and it's like, wait. No, I'm literally, and I want to do country, so I'm in the area to do this stuff, but I go to school and I don't wear this stuff at school. I would just dance in it, you know. And I go to school in California and like Zika Ricci's and like Birkenstocks, and it was like a whole different attire. It was like I was a Lindy Hopper, but like you know, rhinestone cowboy, and it was. And so it kind of became more of a lifestyle there for me to do country, and I got into the to be able to do it more. I figured I had to teach it. I had to teach dance somehow, and I knew I was okay at it. I was doing well with Sarah at the time. We were kind of coming up in the ranks, and so I was finishing my junior year of high school. I started working for a couple that had a studio in Tyler, Texas, and they ran it like an Arthur Murray. And I would get people in there, and I would teach them, and I would get them to do stuff so quick. And then the person that owned it, I don't want to throw them under the bus and say who it was, but they were like, hey, you got to slow down. I'm like, what? I'm like, you got to slow down. and they were like, and without saying it, they were saying like, you got to milk them for more time. And then you got to sell them on packages. And I was like, I got to do what? I want to dance. I just want to teach people how to dance. Like, I don't need to do this. So I quit very quickly. I think I left my commissions. I didn't care. At that point, it was like, let's move on. At this time, I'm like, I'm finding like country events, like some bigger country events like UCWDC. I find that there's one in Dallas, and it's November. It's the country Dallas dance. And we always had Fresno, and it had a swing floor, right? Well, Dallas Dance, they had their version of a swing floor, which was all push and whip. And I remember walking from the country ballroom in my boots and my Wranglers, my muscle shirt, it's kind of weird, and a hat. And I walk into the swing room, and there's this guy who's just floating, like literally just floating on like invisible shoes. I'm like, what is this? And it's dark, and I'm like, oh, we can't see anything, but I see everything. And it's just a vibe. And that was the moment I literally kind of fell in love with swing from the country style. So I see this for the first time, and I'm like, holy moly, who is that? It's Ramiro Gonzalez. He's wearing international male pants. They're huge, right? The stovepipe. And then he has these little bitty black nubuck shoes on. You can't see me. Like, it's like, you know, that new material that you can't see? It looked like that at the time, because everything else had a shine to it. So you're like, what's this flat shoe? You can't see the movement, but you see movement. And it made it look so fast. And I was like, style. So the movement has to match with the style. So if I'm going to bite the style, I have to bite all the style. And so it wasn't, I don't think, a conscious effort, you know, it's just like people start dressing you. You start getting to be noticed. It's like, so you see this, she's like, where do I get those pants? How do I find that? Those are the shoes that they're selling in the lobby. You know, you're just kind of part of the machine at that point. But that's where I'm falling in love with it, as I'm kind of a cog in the watch. You know, I'm not hired at the events, but I'm there doing my private lessons. You know, I'm paying to get in. It's like I'm buying my own room. It's like, it's still not a full-time job, other than I have to make up for the money on the weekend. I'm traveling back and forth from Tyler to Dallas with my dad, as he's taken her to go do chemo. So this is like 9 months of this. I meet a lady there by the name of Rosemary Malady, and she's really good friends with all the big people in Dallas at the time, which would have been like Khalees Douglas, Khalees Key. Then it would have been Barry, Terry Ripa, Terry Roseborough, just the whole Houston crew. They all were introduced to me through Rose. And Rosemary Malady was a really cool and instrumental person to introduce me to their world. She saw potential in me and was like, no, you guys need to know this kid. Because I was literally like 17, and you couldn't go into bars unless you were with like a family member. And so she'd act like my grandma. And so I'd show my ID, and they'd be like, oh, and she's like, oh, it's my grandson. And it's like, okay, let's go. You know, it's like, and they let me in. I'm literally going to dance with all the adults in Dallas at the push clubs, and being told that Rose is my grandma. That was kind of the introduction of me learning push and whip and the style structure of West Coast swing that I got from country. And so when I came back to California, after my grandma was all better and my dad wanted to get home, and it was the end of my junior year, so I wanted to start my senior year back at my regular school, I was literally a different person. Like, all of a sudden I came back to California, and what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean? What's that pushing stuff? Like, oh, the double resistance? I don't know. I just do it now. And everything, because the music at the time was like super kind of bouncy. So everything kind of came out. It was Mario had done it on a bigger scale, being at the Open. He'd already shown push and whip. It wasn't anything, it was new. It was just wasn't in the social scene yet. Like, you get the top end of the tier of the dancing, and they'd be doing it. But when you get into the belly of the beast, like when you're actually engulfed in the culture of like push and whip, you get I literally had followers larger than me pushing it into my body. And I wasn't small. I played football. I was like 17, and like I was stocky. I mean, I wasn't little, but then they push and pull, and I'd have to like anchor myself. And I'm also in these little shoes now that have like heels on them. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to hunker down. So it's this weird, like, kind of force-fed energy that I came back with. And so what do you do as the dancer on the other side that has control of that? You force feed that back to the community, you know, and you're social dancing all night long, and people are feeling the dance change, You know, you do it with one, they do it with the other, and then you dance with other leaders, they feel it on you. And it's like, now it's just it's a poison, you know. It's what our dance does, actually. You want to geek out on this. I call it the org of all dances. We assimilate all the good things of other dance forms, and then we ditch what doesn't fit within our structure. So to me, we assimilated push and whips version of anchoring for a musical developmental piece for today's version of the dance. So it's just another layer that allowed us to be musical with certain areas of the dance that we weren't musical with before. It was spin, hit, break, move, count, hit, break, you know, and then you get push and whip in there, and it's like, oh, we can use that anchor to do something with the music on it. It changed the dynamic and the flow of it, as it did with me being engulfed in this culture, so that I could just migrate it into, you know, the partnership with me and Sarah. She does it with other people. We're all traveling together. So it just kind of becomes the norm of style. As I came back, this is where things get kind of fuzzy, because this is high school. This is a lot. Like at one point, Sarah and I are not dancing anymore. She's dancing like Toby Monroe and like country. So I think once I graduated, I was being kind of recruited by Beata Howe, because my time that I spent in Texas got me connected to Barry Jones. And so in a lot of my development in Texas with Barry Jones, Beata was a part of that culture out there. So when I came back, Barry and Beata couldn't dance he couldn't do two divisions. Like NASD had made up some new rule where you couldn't dance both showcase and classic. And I think it was like every NASD event had it now. I had to go. So what I did is I went and I learned Barry's routine from 1995 with Beata. As I'm dancing the tail end of my senior year of school, I'm in like New York, then I'm in like Texas, then I'm in like Chicago. So I dance all these other places, but I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to graduate, because I'm like not coming to school. I mean, I've got grades, I'm good. But at this whole time, I'm literally supposed to be finishing high school. I get going to each of these events and I start doing this routine with them. And this is like really, it immerses you into someone else's movement. When you see someone perform a routine, and then you take that routine and you have to now emulate it. So the partner that they were with, you have to do it with that person. Now, Barry's like 6'3", and I'm only 6 foot. And he would do it in heels. So let's put 6'4" on the man, and wingspan, you know, and he would run the dance. He would like literally an underarm turn would be half the floor. It was cool. It was really cool because Beata could handle it. It was like the length of the dance. He like really had it like long and like flamboyant. It was awesome. If you go back and look up Barry and Beata, moving on up, it was this really cool like number that starts with like her like rolling, and it was a classic number, I think in 94, 95, but unbelievable routine. So that was kind of my immersion into Barry Jones' movement, which was the more presented, more elaborate movement, more modern music, a lot more arms. So there was a stage where I was swinging my arm a whole lot, very much. But there was elements within that time period where, as I was trying to do the next piece, it was hard to let go of. So it was a struggle having somebody else's choreo on me, then trying to social dance that, and then jumping back into trying to choreo again. And it was a huge struggle. So it was a lot of it was filtered around how to move Beata the right way, you know, because Barry was able to do more with her with the length than I was able to. So when Beata and I went to go choreograph, it was like, oh, we need to make this more vertical. So we can share this space. You know, I'm not going to muscle you through this whole routine anymore. It wasn't in my nature to like push that same way. I mean, you could be strong, but there was one thing to be strong to a moment, but there was another thing to be accelerating at the right time to get somewhere at the right time. And I felt like there was a there's a layer that for development that I just never understood how to not be a part of. It's like, it's music. Aren't we doing this to that stuff? And if we're not using all of it, is it only to that moment? Is that what makes it interesting? Or are we just bypassing the bigger layer of information that's coming in the auditory form? It's like, what are we trying to show people? You know? So to me, when it was choreography, it was, how can I make the partnership work? So mine and Beata's development was really, it was a struggle. She wanted to keep going after we danced the open. So it was 96, I think we danced. That was my graduation year that we got ready for the open, won in 96. But, you know, I call that one like kind of my, like, it's not a real win. It's like my all-star win. It's my rising star win. That's the year that they had Superstar. So I don't even count that as like, that's not an open title to me. That's a rising star title.
Yeah.
Where were the big dogs at? You know, it was an open opportunity. There's a few open titles out there that people claim that think are valid.
Yeah.
Rising star.
Yeah.
Which is great. We needed it. Like they didn't bring superstars back after that. But
yeah.
Well, why? Oh, because undefeated. Royston. Mad respect for that guy. That's like, I also throw that one out because he's the only one to carry 2 superstar titles. Bring it back.
We love Roro.
Okay, so where do we leave off at? So I've journey wise to style. I mean, I'm trying to just kind of stick in that kind of genre for this. I hope that kind of keeps us on the not personal path. Maybe the influential. So there's a couple of things I'd like to mention about like the history of, I think some of the influence of style that I brought back with me also was a Randy Clemens. He was a push dancer out of Dallas. He was married to Lisa Vineyard at the time. They were like getting together. They got married like maybe shortly thereafter. But he was like, I would say, and I don't know if this means much to you guys or viewers, but he was like the Texas Wayne Bott. And if you guys haven't done a deep dive on someone really cool, a Wayne Bott would be really cool.
Yeah.
He's pretty influential to the generation of leaders that you have still around. He had a great deal of influence on us as a mentor in different ways than just dance. So he's a cool human that I would look into. So Randy Clemens, what that meant was he was like the creative, kind of open, like try anything kind of guy. He would step outside the box. Wayne always wanted to push the limits of like the rules. It was just his like nature of being kind of stick it to the man kind of feel, I guess. It was like, no, dude, you give me a rule, I'll find a way around it. It's like, make it a good rule then. It's like, if you're gonna call it swing, what a swing, you know? And that was kind of a Wayne kind of esque kind of feel, very creative in the community. And so to me, Randy Clemens, if you guys want to go deeper into like the like smaller sect of like push whip kind of genre, he's a pretty cool cat for that time period. He's kind of like also like a Sonny Watson, kind of bouncy and pushy and
interesting.
Okay, so another person, Lisa Vineyard, I mentioned, that is with Randy Clemens at the time that I met them. Did some really cool footworky stuff that I reverse engineered into like, it looked like a drive dig kind of Charleston-y kind of movement, but with like forward weight. And it was like an action that Apollo would do on 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I was like, ooh, I'll learn that from the back end of it. And then it was like an action that I just started doing all the time. And it was like, oh, I can play with time. And so there was like this moment with just this moment in a hallway where she's just passing on this little moment of information that, you know, you just get it and you go, oh, that's just a key. You just give me a move. You unlocked a door. That was a cool moment for like understanding why, like, I think one moment of a teacher giving like has a ripple effect to like so many other people and how they can affect their view. You know, it's like she probably thinks that all the time. It's like nobody ever says this. Nobody ever says this. I say this all the time. And it's like, you may say it, but it took that one person hearing it the right way to like make it valuable for them. And it's like you just want to be that next person. You want to be the person to unlock that door. It's like, here's the key, here, this makes this easier. I don't know if you guys remember your unlocked moment, like, because you probably have a few where you're like, oh, I don't count anymore.
We were both solo dancers as kids, and I don't remember my solo training to the extent like I can do it, but I don't remember the learning of it. But yeah, I have had recent ahas in West Coast Swing, understanding the differences between leading and following, because as you know, I do both roles, improving and understanding those both roles separately from each other and what applies to one versus the other. So definitely had those recently. But do you have any distinct memories, Alicia?
Not really. I feel like I should.
You have that moment where you're just doing the dance. It becomes a yoga. You're here, you're now, you're living in the moment. I mean, I literally teach people to do that. And if you're not getting those moments, your approach is wrong. Like, why are we here? Why are we doing this? It's to be here, to be present. What does yoga do personally? It centers a human, right? Well, don't we need those in like social atmospheres too? Like a social centering, where we can kind of be present in a space with people. And to me, when I dance, like, there are moments that are structurally like developed because I'm trying to make something happen. But then late at night, I would just go try and get back into my yoga. And I think it would seep in to the social element of it.
I can tell when someone on the other end of my hand isn't there with me. And that's one of the saddest things to ever experience. It's like we're holding hands, we're dancing, but I'm like, you're not here with me, and they're in their head, right? And that's one of the
not interacting
things that I experience on the social floor or the comp floor.
Yeah.
That's an empty feeling. And it's so I've had moments in dance where I've hurt people, not like, for example, turning someone down and then someone else asking you on the floor, relative to that person's like level, they're better, whatever. And I did it to a really kind lady that was really a supporter of mine since I was like a kid. Her name was Gloria. And she still dances. She comes out to LA stuff every once in a while. And there's this one moment, I was stupid drinking. I said no, I was so sweaty. But then like someone else, popular at the time, asked me to dance. And, like, how much time has it been? Sure, let's hit the floor. Music's like 3 minutes, I'm sure. But it was wrong. Got on the floor, probably did a second one. And it was just, she went to bed. She was really upset. She approached me the next day and said, I want you to know that I asked you to dance last night and you told me no. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And she's like, then you dance the next song or the same song. And I was like, oh, she's like, that really ruined my night. And I said, I'm absolutely so sorry. And it's like one of those things from now on, it's like, if you don't want to dance, don't be out there. It's 100% all directions. So made me be more present to the concept of like, this isn't just me, it's like, it's an us thing. And it was a huge like epiphany moment of like being a better professional too, and it's, don't be in a place where you can't make those decisions correctly. And I've done plenty wrong. So that's a whole nother probably podcast, but right. Sideways. I want to migrate back off of like Texas, because I was when you're really young, it's so influential. And I feel like merging that generation of push and whip that I got and the muscling of it, and how West Coast was so hangy and strong, and slot oriented, that it was a great merger of style structures. It was like, I can use the weight of both of these, and then they won't find it too aggressive if I just kind of literally double resist. It wasn't because I had a compression point in it, which was what push and whip created. So when you saw double resistance in West Coast Swing, it wasn't like resistance, compression, resistance. When you would do it against a West Coast dancer, it would be like hang on the 5 and you'd hang off of it and they'd still be pulling. So you'd resist again for the 6 and a 1. And so it had this like doubled resistance it was literal form. It didn't have the compression point that push and whip it always created. So another cool merger of styles for the time that was quickly taken out because followers got out of heels and pants were put on, and it just got like more user friendly.
Yeah.
So after doing Barry's thing and trying to do the Beata part, we would go clubbing quite a bit. This is the late 90s, mid 90s. Yeah, mid 90s. And as we would go and have fun in all these adult places where I look like an adult, would just let me in, and we would rave dance in a weird way. It was just like liquid. It was, you'll see if you ever want a really fun journey, there's a video of me and Beata in cabaret. I mean, we all live a life, right? So we go look that one up. Kyle Beata. It's awful and great in all its forms. So so with that being said, we enjoyed locking and popping and that style of dance at the time. I think it's Boogaloo Sam is from the Valley, like so Poppin' Pete from the Valley. And it's like where Poppin' and Lock really kind of originated, I guess. I'm throwing this out there. I'm not going to say the truth, but I know that one of those two, or if not both, are from the Valley. But Beata, or one of our, this is just a few years later, but hold on. One of our friends would fly in from Denver to come train with us and with Poppin' Pete. So it was weird. So
interesting.
Yeah, interesting little thing. So we liked that kind of dancing. And at the time there wasn't really like big YouTube. It was like anything, if you found anything, it was like you were lucky. It was more like movies like Electric Boogaloo and stuff like that you saw those kind of dances, unless it was mainstream. You never really saw it, right? It was so underground. So we wanted to kind of find music that kind of fit the more modern structure. It's like, what are we doing? We're doing hip hop. It's like, so how can we integrate these two things? And so that's when we did the Staying Alive. So it was like, how can we merge something that's familiar, but with something that they would allow? It's like, ooh, it's a twist. It's like, we've already done this, but have we? And so it was like, and when you watch the other professionals do the clever stuff that they do, you know, you're always influenced. And so to me, Barry was always on the cutting edge of like, you know, modern music. Like people, I know Robert always tries to say stuff on the microphone, and I appreciate it, but he always says stuff like, you know, Kyle and Sarah brought modern music to the thing, you know, what you were listening on the radio is what you were listening to. I was like, well, thank you. We really tried, but it was Barry. Barry really was like a huge innovator in like bringing like hip hop and other forms of dance. He was jazz and just way different style, you know, the cross training, like completely different kind of styles that you wouldn't see in swing usually. And it was like with this couple from Texas, they're popping this out like nothing, you know. They're like, oh, watch this, we added this from class this week, you know. And I was like, oh, you can do that. And so cross training was really, really big. So when me and Beata were like starting to choreograph, it's like, oh, how can we integrate the liquid that we do in the club and scenes and stuff that we did? And so what music? And so by kind of integrating the two concepts, it was, I think, what became more acceptable. It's like, we can do yours with ours. Then it went into a James Brown like remix thing. And so we knew just going into that, we would be able to like just get away with the lift. It was like it was a routine that was literally classic with a lift at the end, a wobbly lift. I have to say it was one of the most fun times like getting ready for that, having all the support, like, because we weren't in the superstar division, so we were like the all-star couple that the Texas group was like procuring. I was like his understudy, so I'm getting haircuts by Barry. I'm getting like, dress this way, do this. I'm literally in gabardine, like wide leg pants and an inch and a half high Latin heels, nubuck, just like everybody was trying to copy Ramiro's feet at the time. So once again, when you're immersed into it, it's the right thing. It's what you dig. And it's so funny, this kind of, not to take like a hard like turn here, but like the world of swing that I came up in has always done outside of competition what this community has made in competition. So I know it's the next generation and step of it, but it's always been there. That crossover leader follower, I was doing that in '93. I was on a team where I was following and got put up into lifts. I mean, it was I love that people are kind of fighting for this, but it's always been an open opportunity and nobody's ever fought the leader follower role. So I just want to kind of throw that out there with the world that we're in right now, is that swing has always been the quintessential like acceptance of everything. If we go all the way back to early 1900s, it was what brought us all together. It's stylistic wise, I would say you've got to add Mario into the bunch, because he was, it's like, when, do we get personal on these things or no?
It's up to you.
Up to you.
Yeah.
What's the viewer count? No, it's he was a big influence. He took me and Sarah under his wing. So when I was doing the Barry stuff and everything, that was all Dallas. That wasn't like, when we talk about push and whips influence, there's a gap of time that we're kind of skipping. So I want you guys to know that I'm going to be coming back around to Texas again, because there's another layer of Texas, because this is literally like 30 years ago to 25 years ago. So that's like, we're literally in the first 5 years of me touching swing dancing. Taps like a new dog, easy with the tricks, right? And these people are just in their mindset doing these things. So it's really easy to move up the ranks really fast when you're a kid. You're just bringing your elements to the table, and you have this vigor, and you're fighting through whatever, and you'll take whatever, and you'll teach whatever. I was teaching for free, for rooms, for $10. It's like, it was stupid. So all of this learning that was going on at this time was self-funded. Like, my parents helped a lot, but it was like, you have this college money, what do you want to do with it? I'm like, well, my college, who does that? Sounds terrible. You see how in high school, you think this is going to be any better up there? No, that's not me. And it's like, well, my dad said, we'll invest this in you however you want, and this will just call your college fund. And so that was like kind of motivation to like not squander it. So a lot of that, preservation of funds was a good learning lesson, from the development of like, I've got to pay for this. I can't just mooch off these people's styles, so I'm taking lessons at the time. As much as we're all out having fun, I'm learning, I'm teaching, I'm understudying, I'm watching in workshops, I'm assisting, and it's for those people that are like, you see a community 30 something years later from what it was and what it's had to navigate through and how it's had to change. And everything would be canceled. Every weekend it'd be over. There'd be never events again. It took so long to weed out the in our community, what was going on in the backgrounds, and how it was just so great. It was what they did. It was just the time of life then. It was how it developed. And so when you're the one kind of in it in this weird way, like not like this, it was hard to like watch how the community accepted what you saw from the backgrounds. And so that was a really different lesson that was happening while I was learning all this style stuff. So, and nobody's bad. I mean, nobody was like malicious, you know. It was factions, you know, not my way, the highway, but it wasn't friendly. And so when I would work with one, the other one get mad, and it was like, so I had to be this like neutral person that was like letting them come to me. And it was always like the approach of, oh, we got you, kid. And so it's a lot easier way to accept information when it's handed to you within the gift of the information, because they really want you to get it. It's a blessing when you can put your hands on the developing like people, you know. And that's why I get it. I understand like when there's a line for, you know, us and soul, you know, and it's 3 hours of 30-second dances, and but that's it. I'll do it again. It's like they just wanted to feel again. It was just enough for them, you know. And make, I don't know if you've ever done like the minute lessons at Liberty,
No.
but it's like
No.
you literally you do a dance and you give people feedback while you're dancing with them for their donations. So for those of you that don't know Liberty, it's a really cool way to like invest in your dancing and give to charity. So but yeah, it's literally like not a dollar dance, but it's a all they want to know is like, what is it like, you know. And that was at least honest, and it didn't take me a whole song to figure it out.
Right.
You know? It's like 30 seconds at a time. Switch, go. A new song. Get them some water. Splash it on them. It's cold. It's gonna be hot sometimes. So the reason that Sarah and I didn't end up dancing when I came back immediately was because she got pregnant. I was actually at her first wedding. A good friend of ours, Matt, and her got married. Sarah was like 19, and then immediately got pregnant. Like months into the marriage, got pregnant. Sarah said that I could dance with Beata. So after I did the thing with Beata for the first year in '95, and Beata and I did well, that was the year that Sarah couldn't dance. So once we got done with our partnership, it was like, no, Sarah's had the baby. We're doing our thing. And so right after that, Sarah and I started dancing. Oh my God. 97. So after the amazing run of my junior to adult transition, I have to follow this up now in Superstars with Sarah. So because I was the previous year's winner in the showcase, I had a bye into the Superstar division. So this was the previous year we did this really cool green. And it was like hunter green, like deep green. It was like stunning. It was like emeralds, you know, on it. It was like the right amount of sheen, like Beata's cut was perfect. Well, if it works once, why not different color? It's if you talk to our friends at any point, they'll mention the blue costume, and they'll lose their stuff.
Is that the one where those pants like ended up on the ceiling at Tap or Chico one year?
Those pants, the pants that you're thinking of are actually the ones from mine and Beata's hip hop routine.
Gotcha.
That we mentioned earlier that you should go check out as well. That's an interesting piece. I had red hair, just so you guys know, and I wore colored sunglasses. And
I've seen that.
Yes.
I got the US Open to dim the lights. They'd never done lighting before in their lives. Not one couple had ever got them to shut off the lights. And so they shut the lights off the open for the first time, and everybody goes, "Oh, what happened?" And they put a spotlight on us, and you can barely see us. It's like a shit spot, a poop spotlight. You can bleep that.
You're good.
So, it's horrible. Oh my gosh, It's great. I mean, it's amazing. I love my life. It's for entertainment, right? So why not? We have to go. We all have to have. So Beata and me transition out. Sarah now and I are dancing. We follow through with the blue routine, and we have a huge mess up right at the beginning too. It's just awful. So we come out looking like Smurfs, and it's kind of the talk of the town of the weekend. Like, did you see those blue costumes? It's like, I know it's awful. It's just it's gut wrenching, crushing. So what does that do? That lights fires. That's just like back to the drawing board. And Sarah's like, we need to dance to this. And I'm like, you want to dance to what? So we need to dance to this. I'm like, we're driving down the road. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. I am not dancing to this. Groove is in the Heart was by far the least of my thoughts of where I could take this dance at the time. And when she's like, I want to do this. She's like, trust me. I'm like, oh, you want to do what? This is a leader-dominated dance. I'm not gonna. You want to do what? Okay, honey. Like, do you have anything better? I'm like, well, no. She's like, just do it. She's like, I promise you. I guarantee you. This will be awesome. I'm like, all right. So we're friends with Wayne and Charlotte at the time. That's like a whole nother like layer of life. Wayne's a dancer out of Denver and super clever within movement and stuff. So when I would see him dance socially, I would see a opportunist. He would look for ways to manipulate time, rhythm, space, control. It was really a cool way to watch somebody not psych their partner out. And that's sometimes it would look that way in competition, but that was him on the other side, just being playful. It really wasn't that way when you were immersed into it. So when we would play like back and forth, there was never like redirection points that were like, oh, this makes me feel like I don't know where I'm going. So Wayne's always like really clear with what's happening. So when you would see that in his competitions, it wasn't, I don't think it read right, and followers never felt that way. So when you see that kind of style on the floor, or you see that transitional kind of feel to this day, when you see leaders kind of moving on the other side, that's Wayne. That's Wayne dancing behind the lead in vacant moments, rather than a tuck turn being here and then like releasing and anchoring, waiting for the connection. Wayne would shape and do things to like finish stuff. And so he would swing on stuff, he would hang on it, but then his angles were like really, really clear, so he would ride arcs in a different way. And so when you would take that style and you would take the push whip Texas style, and then you take really open, flamboyant front facing style, and then you take the clever pattern structure, instruction stuff, you've now got this mix of professionals that have now cultivated a new generation and a new mindset. So to me, when Sarah said do grooves in the heart, I'm like, okay, well, how do I make this work? It's like when we would do choreography, you guys, you have to see something really fun. So when Sarah and I were doing country, let's rewind. I don't know if you have to put this at the beginning or what, but when Sarah first started doing country, we ran out of money doing our routines. So we paid for the two-step, we paid for the polka, we paid for the waltz. The swing. We can just plagiarize swing. So we went and we got all of like the swing videos we could get from anywhere, right? From our coach. And we just literally took every move and they're like, okay, well, how do we get from this point to this point? So it was Reba McEntire, I think, or maybe one of those, but Why Haven't I Heard From You? And we literally like mimed the whole routine with West Coast swing and blew the roof off the place. Like, when they would like put all the couples on the floor at one time in country, you'd all dance to the same song, your routine, each facing kind of a different wall. Well, we would do this routine and the whole place would erupt. It would be so insane because it was just and you're literally rising star couples, like low rising star couples. So the whole crowd's behind you, plus your family's there, and they're in the front row. And that was like, we've always kind of had a sense of humor to movement. And so when we were able to like look at Grooves in the Heart and be like, okay, well, how do we make this song work with swing? And if you guys haven't seen it, the original version of it, I think it's on our website somewhere, under our video log. Just if you go down to the bottom of our front page, there'll be like a scroll button. You can kind of see one will say like social dances and others routine dances. We performed it one time at Seattle. It's a classic version there, and it's I think my favorite version because it's when it debuted, and the costumes are awesome atrocious.
It's just the time.
The best kinds.
we got announced as Kyle St. Patrick Red, because it's a nice green color, but it's like really like loud green, like really loud green. And Sarah's just took the same material and like tied a bandana around her midsection and her pants. So it's super cute, but it's very like not junior, but young. It's a young routine. And we come out and it's one of those pieces, if you haven't seen it, it just flows from piece to piece. And all we wanted to do was like pick out the highlights of it. And then how do we fit in the dance and pick out the highlights? Because we thought there's rules here. What are the rules? You know, at the time, it was like we would just watch people like move through the dance and just hit anything. And that was what it was like. You couldn't not do swing to it, like, because it was so big bandy, it was so bluesy, or it was so country, or it was like the music at the time that people were doing the routines to didn't have time to articulate all these little things that were happening in between the spaces. And so when you would have those moments as a classic and showcase dancer, that generation from like 93, 92 to like 2000-ish, there was a lot of people coming into that space that were bringing a different version of the dance that was becoming acceptable within swing movement. Well, they get to do it. Well, they get to do it. Well, they get to do it. So the dance starts becoming like anything goes, because nobody's got a handle on it. Nobody's able to like identify what it is, you know? And so now you're getting into like swing content is a subjective thing. And it's like, well, I can do every movement in swing. Yeah, I can call that. I can double resist. I can rock and go. I can like, whose version of the dance are we doing? It's the US Open. So when they try and call us on swing content, it's like, no, I was doing hustle, which is a version of swing for you guys. You know, it's like, don't call it an open division. You have to call it what it is. It's, if you want it to be a West Coast swing division, then take the step and do it. But then you lose the shaggers, you lose the hand dancers, you lose all the other forms of Lindy Hop, and nobody, it doesn't get an open opportunity to bring swing to its higher level. Which, can't swing be the higher level now? Because don't you think it's unfair if they're like having like shag dancers out there, but nobody shags is on the judging panel?
Yep.
Misrepresentation of an art form.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, but it's hard and it's expensive to get judges out here for people who are supporting the event. Or do we train those judges in that art form? There we go. Why not?
You're welcome to troll us on Nerdy anytime you like for nuggets like that, because that we love that stuff over here.
I'll throw some shade out there, or some sunshine. I like them both ways. Yeah, you like the shade. So the year that Sarah and I bring Grooves in the Heart, we win all year long. Okay, so when we dance this one at Seattle Easter Swing, that's on our website, we lost to Charlie Wobble and Jackie. They were there and they were dancing their Move Across the River routine. And we got smoked. I mean, of course, and they're legends. I mean,
yeah.
And I don't like losing at all. So I don't like it. These shaggers need to stay in their own lane. But I like them as humans. Right. So I didn't get it. I was a cocky little kid, you know. I really enjoyed watching them dance. It was my first introduction to like shag, outside of like seeing one other kid at the Open the previous year when I was dancing in juniors. And his name was and he danced in classic. His name was Brent Key. So Brent and Shay Carver is her last name. So Brent Key and Shake Harbor. You can, I think it's on YouTube somewhere, but they dance this like kind of like bluesy piece, and it's so sick. But it's, it's like watching unfinished dancers, like almost social dance on the open floor. But it's amazing. They have like their trick moves, they have all their stuff. So we're like, whoa, these feet, it's crazy. We end up like the same year we won Showcase, me and Sarah, Brent and Khalees won Classic with Great Gosh Almighty. So we end up like just becoming like best friends, because now we get to travel the circuit. We got the 2 winning routines. You're hired at everything. It's just like, it's all set in stone. They're starting the NASD tour. These events are making bank. You guys don't realize it. Like they're literally paying us nothing. Nothing. Like we're fighting for like $100 an hour. Sometimes paying our flights to stuff. It's like, but now they're starting to throw this tour, right? So we're chasing the tour now. So we can kind of like justify it for the end of the means at the end. You're judging, you're doing tons of private lessons, you're winning Classic or Showcase. Because back then, if you won like Classic and Showcase, that's like a $1,000 to $1,500 purse sometimes. At some events at Grand Nationals, it was $3,000 at one time.
Wow.
For first place. Each division, plus 1,500 for second, plus it was like mad money. It was like laundering money through the event, I think. I don't know. It was stupid. Like, how you guys give this much money away? I understand it. Not that I would never refuse that. I was just,
I'm imagining this like mobster West Coast Swing movie now.
That was Grand Nationals. Because Grand Nationals had it was like the national, like they gave as much money away as the Open at one point. They were in the $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 in prize money range of stuff. So, which means, they're getting the hotel room, their ballrooms for free, kickbacks on the hotel rooms. It's like these events these days are a whole different ballgame, just so y'all know. Back then, yes, they were making a ton of money and not paying us anything. Like, it was awful. So I slept on bathtubs. I did it all, guys. So work hard. You're getting paid someday. Just know that we all slept on bathtubs. Yeah. So get to so Brent is one of my best friends now at this point. He is still to this day. Love him. He is one of the most amazing shaggers on the planet. Had a whole different style in the dance. His boogie walk is what I completely emulate. I found out recently through a discussion with him that it is not quite right yet. So I will be working on that and fixing that, I hope, soon. But we are all a work in progress to our masters. Yep. Yes. So Brent, if you can, like, go check out some of his stuff with Khalees. I know we've all kind of probably been down the Brent rabbit hole, but that man is a genius. He is not a routine dancer, and for him to take the leap of faith and for Khalees to, hold his hand through that was a feat in itself. He is just not that human, and for him to go through that and do as well as he did is huge props. If you guys ever get a chance, if you want to like immerse yourself in a community, once again, like I said, if you go to like Dallas or Houston, you kind of go there and you kind of go to their local community and go to their local dance for a week or something. Try and tie yourself in that way. Myrtle Beach would be a great place to go. They do 2 different times, fall migration and spring migration. I would say get your tails out there and learn their world, because it will do nothing but teach you how to isolate and trust and manage your timing and be okay. It's like one thing Shag taught me was that swing was okay. Tripling is okay. Why? Because it's what the sound is doing. Now, where do you push that triple? Is it an and 3? Is it 3 and? Is it 3, 4 and 5, 6? Like, what is it? Where's it going? If you're doing it musically, you can do it. If it doesn't fit to the music, you're just doing this and 3 step, and it's like, oh, that's just like I'm rushing to get to my 4 so I can push my timing. It's like, no, if your music does it, then it doesn't look off time. It's a layer of connection to the floor that was super like crucial in development, because it's like I teach people nowadays to like put themselves inside of like a paper towel tube. Don't hit the edges. Like, you get your frame can kind of flex on it a little bit, your hand can go outside of it, but just put yourself in that tube and keep everything kind of tight. So when you triple, you don't have all this action like pushing outside the body. It's like containment. And that's what Shag does, is like it contains its movement into its own space and it works off its center point. Now, do we do that within the dance? In a way, but we do it with a direction, and we manage time differently. we don't have a rock step in our dance, you know, we have a directional intent for time. And that's a whole different layer of like understanding, because as I went through all these different stages of the dance, from Shag being the most centric versus everything else being swung out, it was a weird thing because it lightened my lead up, because I started having to manage distance in a different way. And so when you have a really vocal partner on the other side of what you're transitioning through, it's helpful and irritating in all the same moment.
Yeah.
If you had feedback all the time, you'd have to get good. You'd have to feel good. I say this in class. It's like behind every champion leader is a champion follower rolling their eyes.
Yeah.
How is that not already on a t-shirt?
I hope it's the next one.
That's good.
If you can imagine, like, feedback was a huge part of this development, because as we're doing routines and as the style structures in there and we're having to do this stuff, this is my partner I go home with. This is the love of my life. This is my everything. And I'm getting feedback from this human that it may make her uncomfortable. I'm like, well, I don't want to be that guy. You know, whether it's a movement that's like too rough, my hand's too tight, or whatever. It's like, what are we working on here? And it's like, and I had tools that I was given by certain, like, you know, teachers, like how to squeeze hands and how to hold them, how they flex and how they shape, and like different tools to like adjust framework inside of, and why things work a certain way versus work certain other ways, pushing energy into top of shoulders versus dropping things down into core. It all has an alignment issue to it. So, but I wasn't like catering to size. And so when I would dance, Sarah had to be managed completely differently. And so it forced me to be more aware of initiations and development and the structure behind perspective connection, and why leaning and piking is better for initiation versus, you know, core initiation versus top of head initiation. Those all create different stretch points within the dance that, if I did to Sarah, were extreme. You know, I never got Sarah to pike herself. I never got her to swing her hips underneath her to get her to move. And it was because, you know, I'm following some other humans' regurgitation of information about what they wanted, what they were told to do, you know. And so having a vocal partnership helps develop a theory. So in the process of all this absorption of everything, and Sarah, this weekend we had a deep dive kind of thing, and she's like, you know, one time my dad, you know, told me about, like, if you're doing religion, you know, it's like she was raised really religious, and so not in a horrible way, it was like good, very healthy way. But it was like, you know, if other people try to talk to you about it, you know, send them away. It's like, you know, like if they come knocking on your door, don't talk to them, you know, send them away. It's like, and so when she left home, she's like, well, why am I sending these people away? You know, if my belief is strong enough, I can just listen to them, you know, and enjoy, you know, the fellowship. So she went and bought a book and said, you know, Religion for Dummies. And so like the first 3/4 of it are like, you know, all the things that religions have in common, and it's just the last like quarter of it is everything they have different. And it was just everybody squabbling over these differences rather than like rejoicing in these, you know, these things we all believe in together. And so it's to me, Sarah's understanding of how our dance worked was kind of the main driving factor for it to be a gentler dance, a more accepting dance, an opportunity dance. Instead of it being right, it's like, what are the common parts of it? You know, why are we fighting against all these differences in the dance when it all works? When I do this person's dance, it works. When I've got Mario's theory on me, it works. When I've got Barry's theory on me, it works. You know, and each person I touch that does that, it works. So why do I have to be one? Aren't all these elements of the dance? And so to me, having the depth of knowledge for the times that I needed each thing became what I hopefully have navigated the art of the dance to at this point, because we never want to shut down a version. because if I get a certain song, it's going to make me dance like that time. And I want to be able to draw from that energy because there's a reason it was moving like this, because the song had this kind of sound or rhythm or drive to it. Why would we look like Lindy Hoppers if we put big band on? Because it's what the music's doing. it's just a little Lindy Hop. You kind of have a little bounce to it. You look like the band, it's like it's an era-based movement and sound. So it forces you into that feeling because that's what they felt. If you can, you start to immerse yourself into sound orientation, not structure orientation. It's like, do we let the dance float? Yeah. Do we stop it on the floor? Yeah. Like, which is it? Do we double resist it? Do we triple resist it? Do we compress in that resistance? Do we hang on the double resistance? Do we like let it float through time? Do we arc it? Do we rotate it? Do we lean on it? Do we stretch on it? Do we double? Do we recover on it? It's like there's so many different layers to a technique. And if you're using it for the right place and right time, that's what makes judging champions probably immensely hard. But judging all-stars, it's a really easy way to like start thumbing through like, oh, structural integrity problems from the beginning. It's like you're not layering like control points, you're not layering musicality, you're not layering in timing. There's lead timing, there's internal pulse timing, there's partnership time, there's true musical time. It's like there's a lot of layers that you think are subjective, but they can have a reason. Because what are you breaking it down to then? Who looks the best? Right. Who makes me go, wow? That's mean.
Yeah.
People are working hard on their art. Give them a chance. Look at their stuff deeper. Now, if you want to put more weight in that, then say that. Then people know what they're chasing. But as an artist on this side of it, it's like to get to the point where what do we know about the dance that we can all agree upon that becomes something that we can not usually have a subjective opinion on, but we can say at least a portion of this ruling within our judgment is based upon something we're at least all aiming for. That's what we're losing people at this point, because if you look at what's happening from overseas to here, it's like it's a different dance over there, and it's like they're doing it wrong. No, it's their development of it. That's what's so amazing about West Coast swing, is it's the modern swing dance. Take it where you want it. Follow the music. West Coast needs a primer. It needs to have a structural point that we can all go, yeah. And I think it's much simpler than we're trying to make it too complex so that we can kind of give somebody an edge. Rather than opening the opportunity for its growth, it stagnates its time. And so I think we can all agree that there's 4 to 5 basic structural concepts within West Coast's slotted concept, right? So we all agree it's a slot, and we can't argue that. I mean, whether the slot's wide or floats or whatever, I think is subjective. If you want it to arc or do something to music, I think that's also relative to level and things like that, and if they're doing it correctly, and how deep the spoke becomes. But I think we can all agree upon the slotting structure, yeah? There's a leader and a follower. We got that. It's pretty common. It's walk, walk, triple, triple. Usually, I mean, that's the base timing we can all kind of start with. A double, a triple, and a triple of some form, whether a tap step or a point step. It gives us the time of weight transfer, weight transfer to weight. It pushes passes. Yeah. And then we also have this weird thing called a whip. It takes more time, but we do it. We throw walk in somewhere. So I think we've got this like structure. So if we're now judging this, we're now putting this in a state of we have to rank it in some way. If the pattern doesn't have swing shape or swing time, is it West Coast? That's right there. I think the biggest thing that happens right here in competition, we have no way to like just say, give me one thing that fits in this. And then we can make a judgment on how it makes us feel after that on a different piece of paper. But for all these people that are fighting for this, we're doing our community a disservice. We're not holding on to any structural integrity. We're letting it go anywhere it wants to go. No, the pendulum can swing over there. We can feel it. We can enjoy it. We can Borg it out. We can assimilate some of the movements, but then there's some structural things in our community that sometimes aren't culturally acceptable. I don't want anybody touching me here. It's not, you can, I don't want it for me. So sometimes things that we get from other communities, like where they're more open to areas of the body of touch, then they'll become the assimilated action. It's like, ooh, that's too far. That's touch my daughter like that, you'll find yourself outside. Yeah, it's you stay out of the strike zones. It's like you get out of here. Yeah, you don't touch my head. It's like, and it's there's a fine line between what is okay within our community, and we've all set those boundaries. Now, personal partner, whatever, your significant other, do what you want. It's you know, as long as it's appropriate. People know that. Me and Sarah get freaking on the back of the floor. It's cool. It's all right. But that's our dynamic, and there's the safe zone. It's like that never crosses outside of that space. So I would never do any of those things with anybody else. That is mine and hers to enjoy together in that form of dance. So unnecessary comment. You probably scratched all that. All right, so we've got the understanding of the dance being this very wide spectrum concept of like everybody being right. And so mine and Sarah's understanding of that started to develop our theory within the dance. It's like being a center point within the partnership, letting things swing past the leader. You know, these are crucial moments in the dance that don't get utilized as much in this newer generation. A lot of trading spaces. Right. You know, you come over here, I'll go over there, you know, and so that feeling of two forward is so prevalent just because of tight dance floors, you know, and that should be the antidote to a problem. A lot of us, when we get into the dance, we use a lot of antidotes all the time. And instead of having a true understanding of a start of a dance, and then the management there forward being like, I'm leaving my house this morning. I'm going to leave out this gate because I need to turn right. And then when I leave that, I'm going to turn right. But I have two options when I get to that next light. I can go straight or I can go right. Because I know if I catch this light, I know the next one's going to be green later, and I don't have to make that left again. If I catch this straight one, I could catch the next right, then my next one's a straight one. It's like you kind of start navigating your morning, right? Yeah. That's how I dance. Like I start something with an intent to get somewhere. Yeah. And the management of what's happening in that time is, where's the green light? Where's the least amount of traffic? Where's the least amount of attention, or do I need attention? It's an easy way to start developing a dance when you have the control and you have a primer to start with. I'm managing time. So because all these other versions always had this inability to understand the time, or it didn't have it wasn't clear, or theirs was clear, but this one was also good. But oh, this one was good too. They're all clear. But when you do one, I could experience all of those. And so to me, time was a management time of time. So I think as I send distance and time, I'm managing through the 2-beat increments. So if we take music out of the equation, what is the flow of the dance? It's time. 2, 2, 2, double, triple, triple. It's still 2 beats. Distance and time coexist on the same plane. So now as we start to walk through the dance, I don't have the dance speeding up during the triple steps. It's walk, walk. Ooh, start to move more faster, triple step, to get to the end of something, to hold on to something, to now anchor step sometimes. But that's the style. That's the technique. Wait, hold on. Unless this guy does it this way, and then they win. Okay, hold on. All right, so let's go through this. So if we have no music, nothing's telling us when to post. Nothing's telling us that it's musically synced to the time of movement. It doesn't. These don't correlate to here. So what am I teaching? I'm teaching management of time. So I can at least teach the car to roll forward. I know how to put on the brakes. I know how to put on the gas. I know how to put on the brakes. So the concept of movement through time is just a structural analysis of any time through this space. So when we didn't have a way to do it at a certain time, Sarah and I didn't want to be contradicted to anybody that we were teaching against. So as we would push our theory and stuff, we had to adjust our theory to be accepting of all. And by putting it across time, it made us we weren't against them. And when you're teaching next to champions and legends in this world, people you hang out with, that you revere, you love what they do, but you also love what they do, but you also love what they do. Like, you can't be on a bandwagon when you're up there with all those people, especially when you're the newest kid on the block. You don't shake feathers. You don't get yourself canceled. They decide. You're not the shit unless the people who are the shit think you're the shit. So you might have to believe that, but that's the truth at the time. It's really hard to fight against the entities that be, because you're not able to, you don't have a voice yet, you don't have a following. Nobody's going to believe you. You're just going to get swept under the rug like the last champion that did something quite wrong, because there was no social media to keep you alive somewhere else. It was literally, if the pros said they wanted to hang out with you for the weekend because you had a strictly swing that weekend, could you hire those guys? It's like, you kind of have to wheel and deal to get friends on board. Like, oh yeah, we like working with them. You should have them next time, guys. We love them. It's like, it was really shake hands and kiss babies kind of concept. So if you were outed in a way and they didn't want you involved in what they were doing, you weren't going to be there. So, which hence was the main reason behind getting the dance to be accepting of all people's stuff. And then we could make choices when we give them content. So that's why we became the content teachers. We were never really like stopping the dance other than for a few minutes to kind of like, hey, this is how we move. This is how we balance. Unless we got like, deeper into classes where ESS started to come into play and we're like, ooh, we get to like dive deep into this stuff. And that's where we started really like talking about like outside of private lessons, how do we pass this on without holding someone's hand? How do we project this? How do we get this to move a certain way? And I think that was a big stepping stone in development, was when we started having to like really break it down for larger groups. Because it's one thing to discover something in a private and manage it in time, but it's another thing to like throw that into a theory. And now you got to get every body type in the room to kind of like jump on board with this theory. Oh, it works with everybody. Look, Sarah leading me, she still has to pike her hips behind to get me to tilt forward, so I have to move forward. So even if you're doing this way, you have to do it this way, because your perspective connection points you up while your hips still swing underneath you. Your head is the perspective connection. The frame will lift with it naturally. You still swing your hips underneath that action. The theory has to move on all bodies, so, or else you get it shot down. Like we're teaching in like San Jose as like 19 and 20-year-olds. Engineers, like really designing like software. They're like, hey, you say gravity is pulling down, like some guy goes, well, like, oh, can I get a physics lesson here? Or you didn't want to, like, you can't step into that arena with without doing some of your homework. And I think it was super important that we kept to our vein. It's like, content within structure. I was given a tool at one point in my career, and I'll hand it away because it's not something I would hide from anybody. But if you want to throw back something, come visit our West Coast Swing Wednesdays. But for those of you out there, I'll throw this out there. Early on in my career, we got invited on a cruise, and there was a professional on the cruise. It was kind of following a big event, and we started early in the weekend, a couple bottles of something into it. And he says, he's trying to pass on knowledge. And he's like, all right, at the end of the weekend, at the end of the cruise, I want you to bring me 5. I'm like, 5? He's like, yeah, give me 5 different sugar pushes. I'm like, what? He's like, no, don't do it now. Because I'm like, I'll do it right now. He's like, no. I don't want to embarrass you. Like, helping me out. I'm like, oh, whatever, dude. All right, 5. I'll see you Sunday. so whole week I haven't done shit. Sorry, I haven't done stuff. I've literally like,
all good.
literally drank my face off, just having a good old time. Taught one workshop, I think. Dinner every night up till the sun comes up. No kids on board. Yeah, it's all good, right? My brain is mush, but I'm 20 something. It's okay. I can take this. So I come up and he's like, final night. He's like, so you got those 5? I'm like, do I got those 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. He goes, 1. I go, 1, 2, and 3. He goes, wait. Can't change the timing of the pattern. It's not that pattern anymore. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. He's like, next round's on you. So he gets up and he goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Longer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wider. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Height. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Rotation. It's like, I'll take 2 shots of Crown. If you know who I'm talking about, you'll know who I'm talking about. That lesson was the quintessential transition of passing on the simplicity of West Coast swing, because it's a management of time, which we already kind of figured out because we didn't want to work against the group of people that were there ahead of us. Yeah. And then the understanding of the dimensional concepts within movement being a variable. So if I can think of length, width, height, and rotation with these actions, now I can adjust other elements within them. So I can do other handholds. So now I can go like right to right length. But what if I took a little bit of length, but then I added rotation to it? Now it just becomes a stylistic acceptance of a theory. Doesn't mean that you consciously activate the action. It's you don't fight the action because it has a purpose to the sway of the organic. So the swing can actually be cultivated instead of it being so stagnant and in its theory just be so simple in a complex form. You know, it's like, why are we handing this dance out as a hard thing? Because we want to sell it. We want to sell this, sell the conventions, sell the lifestyle, sell the yoga. That's the power of this. It's the here and the now. It's being in tune with the human and music on at the same time. That's what salsa can do. They can make you feel their rhythm and they can make you do their dance in 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. We can too. We can. It's walk, walk, triple, triple, move around. You kind of stay this way, guys. Don't hit everybody.
Yeah.
That last one, underlined.
Yeah, you started. No, it's the dance is so much easier if we take the should out of it. You know, it's a management of a human flying back and forth, you know, coming towards you and going away. You know, it's like, don't think of it as so hard. You communicate as a human all the time to other humans. We're walking down the street holding hands. Wait, I want to see that in the window. Not get over here. There's something in the window. You know, it's like we're pretty good at, like, you know, communicating. We want to stop. You know, if we want to go, we need to be in a hurry. We don't yank the arm of the child. We're like, hey, let's go. Gotta get moving. You know, we have human characteristics that take place within dance and movement. And so when we tap into that as leaders and followers, we start getting a bigger understanding of this dance once we have these other tools to work inside of. So you got to get somebody to understand the flow of it. Then you got to get them to understand the rhythm of it. And then you can understand the human of it. And a lot of us are too busy holding on to a shape of it, and we never get to the human of it. Then you're locked into competition for life. And if you don't win, you're a loser. Sucks.
Yep.
That's a lot. Which is okay. I don't care. It's people's opinions. I thought it was better, but that's my opinion.
Yeah.
So I hope that kind of gives you guys an insight to that really gets us to like maybe 2005 to 8. We don't have to go any deeper than that. I like to get to style, because I now think today's style is what the development of those legends with an impact to this generation through what I was able to pass on and where I found the dance are the people that I would literally go back and just maybe watch a little bit deeper to see what they were doing. You know, competition's a horrible place to feel that, because, you know, I don't know if you guys ever heard of a guy named Tom Lewis. If you go look him up, he's got one video on YouTube with Sylvia Sykes, and it doesn't do the man justice. Like, you know, you get those dancers in the back edge of the floor and you're like, man, they just rock it. But back then you'd have to be at the event to see it. Then you'd be enamored by it, because it wasn't something you saw on YouTube first and then sought it out. You'd just be somewhere in a bar and there's this dude with the most slippery ass shoes on, just sliding around, hanging onto a partner, just like going crazy. But he was just so innovative and so off balance and controlled in one motion. And there's so many like dancers that you see in competition, or you see these things you're never going to see unless you get to an event. That's what makes these so magical. When we see our pros out late at night and you see the magic they create, you know, that's I'm in awe of my friends when I go out at night too, and I watch, or I'm on the other side of that genius, and I'm like, oh, and it's like I get the window to that amazing artist in front of me, and I'm feeding on that moment, and I'm just literally like immersed in like I have synesthesia. So when it's like dark like that at night and the lights and then the people's shadows, and it just becomes it's intense and it's cool as heck, and it's so much color, and it's almost overwhelmingly great. So I don't know if anybody else experiences that, and if they find it to be a little bit more abstract and more geometric later at night when the lights are down and closer to the speakers. That's you'll see a lot less. I think there's another human that has that. I don't want to out them, but yeah, we talked about that quite a bit. The reasoning behind probably the end of that is because I think now from 2008 to 10, 12, it's just been a stagnant kind of pass this information along, because we started going to Europe a lot. And so there wasn't anybody else. You didn't have to fight them. You could really just, you could teach your theory. You could go, well, yeah, it's a sugar tuck. We don't do tuck turns now. You know, I thought yeah, this is the first version, you know, and it's a tap. It's a lazy man tuck. It's like we didn't want to teach a different rhythm change, you know, to do 1, 2, and 3 French cross. I mean, that's what made it so complex. You know, it's an outside underarm turn unless rhythmically changed. It's like that's a lead action that was a part of the baseline. It's, you know, that's where the strumming through theory had to go, like, what's this rule's here but not here. You know, it's like if you don't give clarity, then of course then it just runs rampant. And that was really what we wanted to try and do, because how many times you caught off guard and a student goes, but yeah, but I hate the yeah buts, you know. Yeah, but what if a meteor hit, you know, like, yeah, but I would literally in class, I would get a yeah, but I go, yeah, but what if that tile fell on your head right now? Anchor.
Great response.
Place. I don't want you to move. Yeah, but you get your partner out from underneath the danger zone. There's your yeah, but. There's tons of yeah, buts. You know, yeah, but me to death. That's a t-shirt. Yeah, but.
That would be a great t-shirt.
It would, yeah.
So 2008 to now, I think that's it's literally it's developmental now. The previous generation feels like the dance has left them. Like, they don't get it. It's like, oh, what are these kids doing? Or like, you know, it's not in that like way, because it's not the elderly in anyways, but it's just the previous generation isn't around as much anymore. Not because they lost the dance, it's they didn't follow the dance. If someone like a Royston can still be here, if Carlito can still be here, you guys have been attached to it the wrong way. Your generation and your music is what you're attached to. So stay to your local dances, get your local DJs to play this. That's how clubs kind of like just pass in time nowadays. You know, some clubs just have their members that just don't every once in a while show up to a dance, and they're stuck in their time warp. And it's okay. West Coast can have its time warp. Thanks for getting people to do it. But unless you understand what West Coast is, it's the modern swing dance. You're time perioding your musical love for the dance. As dancers that develop this, you should have those as specialty hours, you know, but the dance should always be moving through the time and be chasing the DJs that are like putting the new music out, the Larissa Tinkles, the Koichis, the Raymond Dianes, there's a lot of DJs out there you want to chase around and see what's coming. Like, what are they listening to? What are the pros listening to? You know, and see what their Spotify's are on. And that'll start to open up, you know, opportunity for the dance to kind of develop, but while still preserving some of the older school music that those people have also grown to love. You have to introduce them slowly. I think every Kanye West song that comes out first, I hate it, but then I end up loving it. I don't know why. Very odd, but
super specific.
It is. It's like, oh, what is this crap? And then I'm like, oh yeah, remember this song? I'm like, I love it.
Oh, yeah.
I think kind of delving into what I think you guys are going to want to like talk about once we get into this is going to be more predecessed by the theory concept of flight, management of time, control of audience, patience. Those are very like crucial things in these dances. Anytime you're hitting the floor, one of the things that I try to pass on to the upper level and upper echelon of this world, I never go out. I mean, I go out to win. I do go out to win. I want to win. I want to be the best at my art, but sometimes I'm not the best at my art. I do want to show. My goal is top 5. My podiuming is the most important. Keeps the brand in sight. It keeps you in the line of fire. It's like you don't want to fall off that bandwagon. You want to show up there. If you can do it every weekend, that's look at your Benjis, look at your Jordans, look at your Ben Morrises. Look at your Roystons. They're literally still behind me in points. Oh, sorry, did I say they're still always in the top 5? You know, you get a breakthrough from someone every once in a while, but for the most part, I hope this airs before somebody beats me.
Part 1 will go up this Sunday, and hopefully part 2 will be up before Vancouver. So
it's like people are chasing points now from events that, like, I have points from stuff like that didn't get points. Like, there was half the stuff I was doing that wasn't a World Swing Dance Council like event until like 3 years later, after I'd already won and advanced or champions or pro at the time for so many. It's like there's so, not that I'm tooting my horn, I'm just saying that, like, we haven't been tracking this stuff as long as people think. And it's like Royston as well. Royston was in country a lot more, so he didn't show up to as many swing events. So that's one reason he doesn't. But if you do, and he does this math, he's one of these, he does this weird math. He's like, yeah, but per capita, ball don't win more. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool, I'll give you that one. I was hired now. You were busy doing country. I get it. No, it's a little, we dig at each other all the time at all the every weekend. So but there's so much that, like, people don't realize that was being done by other professionals at the time that would have different point structures. I don't know if you guys know this, but Marianne's still like number 3. Marianne Nunes. Like, and she had like she's still number 3. Like, she won so much that even 10 years after her retirement, she's still top 3. It's crazy. Wow. So
it is crazy.
It is crazy. So that's how much that lady won. She spanks us all. I love what you guys are doing here. I really do. I appreciate it for someone who literally lives this art form. It takes all parts of us to bring to light, you know, and it's the only way it's going to get out there is by more of this. You know, it's just got to be seen. It's got to be experienced. And I hope what I said earlier about those epiphany moments and those feels and those here's and nows, I hope that's the chase for people, you know, because as much as I was chasing the competition, I literally was only doing that so I could do more social dancing. It was what paid the bills so I could do my drug of choice, which was dance. You know, it was like, I literally loved to dance. It was, and I loved swinging so much that I went through 3 other dances to do one until I found the whole community of this. I was like, oh, there's only Swiss dancers? I don't have to come do all this other shit? Like, no, you don't. You could see them almost like melt. Like, I told my coaches this. Like, even Royston was like, oh, I get it, dude. He's like, but Royston was like the god in country at the time, right? So he couldn't run away. It was country's bread and butter for him. So, you know, like, I saw this world wide open, and I could just literally, it was handed to us. It was literally just, here, guys, we're so hungry for something else, you know? So it's so important that this new generation has the right goal structure within their dancing, and how they could make money in it. That's not the problem. Make it authentically, make it honestly. It's not a fun game if you're just chasing the win, because then there's only one happy person on a weekend or 2.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you have to love it so much that the crushing blow of a second place is just a smaller paycheck in the bigger, grander scheme of things. And it's not that they didn't like your art, they didn't like your stuff. It was just, you know, they have to make a choice, and you're not their choice that day. So, and half these people are your friends, so you got to go, like, not have a good time with them and you know, take it personal. No. People have preferences and not and still survive in this world. You know, it's not like it personal. It's like, I don't like you dancing, but you're a cool person.
Right.
and like half of dance teaching is also mental health support. Do you and Sarah experience that as well?
As mental health support, is dancing that way?
No, teaching dance. It's
teaching.
like you end up being a psychologist without being a psychologist.
So, yeah, like a marriage counselor. You know, I'd say the problem is I think people find a lot of, I don't know if it's, I hope this is not too honest. Like sometimes after I work with couples, like there's such a heightened awareness of like other that sometimes they don't stay together. Not that I'm saying that I break them up, but it's just I think sometimes people are at a point in their life where it's like they just hear someone else's understanding of the tie between the relationship communication and dance communication are so intertwined. Like you can tell the most crazy things about a human based upon their dancing, you know. And then you got some that are just sleepers because it's like they look really good, they feel really good, but they're really not. It's like to me it's a telltale sign of who you are. And so when you start to see people that are super selfish, it's like, what do I need? What am I doing? How do I get further? You know, it's like that starts to throw like a monkey wrench into their world a little bit because you're like, oh shoot, I am really introverted in life. I have to learn these moments. It's like, okay, to take care of me, you have to put your mask on first. But that's not where we're at. We're here in a place where, you know, the thought of another human has to be engaged. If we don't do that, I mean, man, you can do it with all these other people. Why can't you do it with me? And, you know, that's the relationship. It's like, you're not staring at me, tell me to do it right. And it's a weird like fight. You're like, oh my God, I can't yeah.
That awkward moment where you're like, you wish you could blend in with the scenery as a teacher. You're just
like, ferns, man. I'm like, make it awkward. I love that. And it makes my life interesting. Bring me your problem. I'll solve them through dance. Literally, it is such it reverses what you need to do. You do it with all these inanimate things all the time. And you can't do it with a human. You know, it's so strange. And when you start doing this, it's like, I mean, I don't know if you have friends out there that are like, you know, every time they're around animals, they're just like, the animals just follow them. And it's like, I don't have to train them anything. They just, you know, like
Alicia is one of these people.
Are you? Power.
I do watch animals.
Like little Wayne is out. He's too old to run now, but literally if like up to like 2-3 years ago, if that door opens, we're literally checking his air tag or like hoping a neighbor calls. But some people it's like they just, are you that one?
Yeah.
So kylesarah.com, correct?
Yeah.
And then why don't you plug Swingcouver real quick since that's coming up?
Oh yeah, we are our 12th Swingcouver, not 12th year straight because we did have a little COVID break for a couple of years, but this is our 12th one. We had to move it out of Vancouver, Canada, just because it was hard during the pandemic to hold anything crossing borders and stuff because most of our staff and everything was American. So we did move it down to Vancouver, Washington last year, and then we found our home this year in Portland, which is literally just across the water and actually cheaper to get to because it's at the airport Embassy Suites. We are so excited. We've been doing ballroom layout, everything this last couple of days. This event is coming together so well. We had a tough year last year with weather and everything like that. So, and hotel was really, really hard to deal with last year. We had a lot of construction issues because they were renovating the hotel. This year, this new hotel is still Hilton property, but man, this crew that we are working with is unbelievable. So if you're looking to go, they've left our room sales. We've blown through our room block, but they said they will sell rooms until they sell out at our rate until I think it was the 18th or no, I'm sure it's somewhere in there, but soon it's going to be cutting off soon. So if you guys are interested in getting to the event, please don't hesitate booking your room because they're going to sell out again. But it is over New Year's. We're offering country this year. That's like our new little thing. Country swing is like the next big thing coming in. So Sarah is a genius. She grabbed onto the country swing. So they're going to be doing like line dancing and stuff before the New Year's Eve party, have their own contests, everything. So if you are into the country world and country swing stuff, you can come check that out that weekend. I think that's via Sarah's recommendation is the next big thing. But then we also got swing time. So if you can't make New Year's this year, but you can plan a little further out, we do swing time in Denver. It is a show. It is literally, I think, the best show on the circuit outside of going to like the Open for something. But what we do is we offer our pros 90 seconds to bring their best wow moment, wow performances. The show is actually called Wow. It is the World of West Coast, and it is showcasing all forms of this dance and its art. So if you're looking for something a little different than a NASD event or something like that, you can come see the show there. So I hope you guys join us for both of those.
Sweet. Oh,
awesome.
Thank you so much for spending so much time with us.
Yeah.
Really
Thank you. It was great.
And, yeah. I feel spoiled. Thank you.
Well, if you ever want to talk about the next half of our life, I'll be here waiting for you guys.
Done.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for giving us a platform to speak like this, and hope to see you guys at Swing Cougar and Swing Time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.